fellow South African women, am I the only one who has been absolutely traumatized from dating in Mzansi? Johannesburg men have absolutely depleted my data bundles when it comes to dating.
Guys, dating should be considered an extreme sport because only the fittest survive.
How long have you been single?
I'm actually not single.
So what are you doing here?
I'm looking for a side chick.
For some time to Fumaneka, don't be available, don't always be available. Every time he's calling, you pick up. Every time he's texting you, meanwhile he minds you for 8 hours. You text it back immediately.
You start trying to match their energy. They took 2 days to respond to you, so you try to make it 8 hours, to show them that you also don't care as much, that you're not as attached, that it's fine, that like you guys are both just like chill and it's okay that you guys are not texting each other.
How much do you think a guy should spend on the first date?
First date, 6K. That's the bare minimum.
What?
Bare minimum.
There is just too much going on in the dating realm of things. Your standards are either too high and you need to lower them, or too low and you're told to up them. 20-year-olds are being advised to not date for feelings but for what they stand to gain financially. We are being told to not text back too quickly because if you do, you come across as desperate. People are getting ghosted left, right and center because of the dating apps and the illusion of choice that they come with. Today we're going to get into all the reasons I think contribute to why modern dating is in the horrible state that it's in. Before we get into today's video, please like, subscribe and turn the notification button on so that you receive a notification every single time I post a video. It's important to acknowledge that while South Africa is in the title, realities of modern dating described here are not unique to just our country. People in the United States, Europe, Asia, and across the world can see reflections of their own experiences in this story. South Africa is used here partly for optimization and context, but the heart of the conversation is globally relatable. The dynamics, behaviors, and emotional patterns that make dating feel confusing, exhausting, and unsatisfying are emerging everywhere because the world has changed and the way we connect has changed with it. For many people today, dating feels less like a slow discovery between two people and more like a constant evaluation. People measure everything: compatibility, intention, attractiveness, future potential, and even financial worth in real time. This doesn't feel like intimacy. It feels like weighing options on a never-ending scale. But this wasn't always the case. There was a time not too long ago when dating moved at a slower pace, more intentional, when community played a bigger role in connections, and when the disappearance of someone didn't happen without a conversation. Back then, dating wasn't perfect, but it had structure built into it. People met through friends, family, school, or shared social circles. An introduction from someone you trusted meant there was accountability. If you treated someone poorly, it wasn't easy to just vanish without consequence. The social fabric around you would make sure of that. Reputation mattered. People didn't disappear into thin air because they knew mutual connections would notice. A date wasn't just a profile on a screen. It was a human being within a community. Ending something required explanation, a conversation, or at least a face-to-face interaction, because future contact with that person or someone connected to them was nearly inevitable. If I introduced my friends to each other and one of them ghosted the other, I would most definitely ask the ghoster what the problem was. I really wish we still had that culture of meeting partners through mutual friends, your cousins or friends, setting you up with their cousin or their other friend. This is a lost art. Not only does this minimize things like ghosting, but it kind of feels safer as well. Your friend or whoever it is that's setting you up knows both of you in real life and they already know you have shared interests or goals. That sounds so much better than people meeting on dating apps where you both could just be putting on a curated image that is not even really you. Not to sound like I'm bashing dating apps, there was a time where I entertained them too in my early 20s, and you can guess how that went because there isn't a ring on my finger. But this way of meeting people really is goated. If you have a cousin or friend who seems like they could really be my person, set me up. Today, that social layer is gone. Dating is often anonymous. Two strangers connecting through an app with no shared experiences, no mutual context, no visible accountability. If the relationship feels uncomfortable, inconvenient, or challenging at any point, disappearing is easy. Sometimes easier than saying, I don't think this is working. There is little social cost to ghosting or vanishing. In many ways, the tools designed to make connection easier have replaced a responsibility with convenience, promoting a vision of freedom that encourages detachment instead of commitment. Dating apps are at the center of this change. On the surface, they promised more choice, more control, and easier ways to meet people, but what they really offered is an illusion of possibilities. When people are presented with endless options, they don't necessarily make better decisions. They make it harder to decide at all. Instead of asking, do I like this person? The thought becomes, is there someone better right now? This creates what psychologists call analysis paralysis. The more options available, the harder it is to commit to one. Instead of deepening connections, people scroll so much and evaluate, always searching for something that feels perfect, always wondering whether the next profile will be better. This environment doesn't just complicate dating, it rewires expectations. People begin to view potential partners not as individuals with depth, complexity, and flaws, but as profiles to be assessed, compared, and replaced. The idea that someone could surprise you, grow with you, or challenge you in beautiful ways gets lost because the focus remains on selection, not connection. And even when someone does genuinely connect with another person, the presence of the app in the background, always hinting at another possibility, weakens the courage to commit fully. The relationship remains a safety first strategy rather than a genuine choice rooted in emotional investment. A person could be on a date with someone and not even be fully present because they are busy thinking about all the other options they have on that dating app. One of the most tangible results of this dynamic is the widespread normalization of ghosting, leaving the other person without clarity, closure, or understanding. While ghosting is often joked about or dismissed online, its emotional impact is very deep. Ghosting teaches people that discomfort is something to be avoided rather than faced. It teaches that people are disposable if they become inconvenient or emotionally demanding. And because ghosting is so common nowadays, many people now expect it, bracing themselves for silence rather than seeking clarity through honest conversation. Rather than learning how to express interest, set boundaries, or navigate conflict, people adapt to avoidance. Emotional caution becomes a defensive posture. Rather than talk through discomfort, people disappear into silence, leaving others to fill the void with anxiety, doubt, and self-criticism.
Even though we all have our own stuff going on, when we choose to have relationships with our family, our friends, romantic relationships, we do owe people at least an explanation. And I don't understand why this has been the year the Lord has sent me people that ghost me. And if anybody knows me, it absolutely devours my soul not to know why somebody's not speaking. Like, are you dead? Are you fine? Why do people think that it's okay? Like, what's going on with the human race that nobody wants to talk anymore? Everyone just goes into their own holes and in their own minds, and the rest of us are left wondering what's going on. Like, God, I don't get it. I just don't, guys.
The emotional cost of ghosting is not just in the act itself, but in what it teaches people about value and worth. When someone disappears without explanation, the message implicit in that behavior is that your time, presence, and feelings can be dismissed without conversation. Over time, this erodes confidence and lowers emotional expectation. I personally cannot think of a time when I was ghosted, but I can imagine how painful it would be to think you have a connection with someone only for them to just disappear on you. But I will say this about dating apps. I don't hate them. I just think it's better to meet people in real life or literally anywhere else, even online, just outside of dating apps, where people can create curated images of themselves. I just think they're too performative. And in a lot of cases, people just lie about who they are on there. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other problems within the dating apps. They're not safe. They're addictive to some people. You could download Tinder now, delete it, and come back after months to find the same people on there. And it's not that they're not meeting people. They're just addicted to the swipes and scroll. The illusion of choice just has them by the balls. And then the other odd filters modern dating culture celebrates, what some people call standards. Standards are important. They help people hold boundaries and avoid harmful situations. But somewhere along the way, these standards have become superficial checkpoints rather than meaningful indicators of accountability. People reject others based on strange reasons, weird choices. This other day I was watching Pop the Balloon or Find Love, and this couple seemed to get along very well. And then she asked him to pick one song that would be the soundtrack for his life or something like that. And she ended up popping because she didn't like the song he chose. If you're not familiar with the show, popping means you're no longer interested in the person.
What would your what song would be like the theme song to your life?
Oh, I have a whole album. I got a double album, but
Pick one.
"Fiendin" by Jodeci.
That's interesting.
Oh. Why did you pop? What happened?
This blew my mind. These are grown-ups who are well over 30 with kids. And not to be mean or anything, I'm sure dating gets more complicated with age and with kids. So how do you meet someone who seems to be aligned with you on important issues and values but pop because of a song choice? I just found that crazy. On the same dating show, I also noticed how people fixate on the way someone dresses. And in a few cases, I get it. But I think people today generally make this a bigger deal than what it really is. If someone takes the really important boxes, I wouldn't care about a dress code. And sometimes the person could be even open to suggestions about them tweaking a couple of things about the way they dress, if it really bothers you that much. This creates the illusion that perfection is attainable and that a partner should tick every box before being given a chance. Compatibility gets replaced with a checklist validation. Dating shows and viral videos like this one amplify this all the time, turning other humans into characters evaluated and dismissed for entertainment. Someone can be emotionally aligned on life goals, respectful and communicative, and still be rejected for an insignificant reason. The harm in this mindset is that it erodes patience and overvalues instant gratification. There are people out there who expect to get exactly what's on their mind, which they may never get. Real relationships are not built on moments alone. They grow through effort, empathy, and vulnerability, and sometimes discomfort. The internet and social media have also transformed how people think about relationships. What used to be private is now public property. Couples document their highs, defend their lows, and broadcast personal moments for likes, comments, and validation. In a lot of cases nowadays, relationships become content. This places an enormous pressure on couples to display happiness they might not feel internally. Problems become performance pieces. Struggles are hidden, not just from one another, but from the world at large, because they don't fit the narrative of perfection. And when millions of strangers feel entitled to comment on a relationship they don't really know anything about, that public noise quietly erodes trust. In some of these relationships that are content, I'm sure the priority starts moving from making sure we are happy to making sure we look happy. Social media also pressures people to compare their relationships with others. Highlight reels become benchmarks for success. People scroll through happy snaps, captions dripping with affections, and start assuming that their partner and their love should look the same. This one is so crazy to me that people still do this, because we've seen couples all the time who have pretended to be happy come out after they've broken up to tell us the truth about what was really going on behind the scenes. we've seen this happen so many times, but it's so funny to me that we still have people who use these relationships as the benchmark of success when they've seen that these people lie all the time. This breeds dissatisfaction and impotence. Relationships are not polished snapshots. They are messy, evolving, and deeply human. And when people prioritize how their relationship looks over how it feels, they lose sight of what matters most, which is emotional safety, authenticity, and mutual growth. The very tools meant to connect people, dating apps, social media platforms, viral content, also cultivate a culture of performance. On dating apps, people present a curated version of themselves. The best photos, witty answers, carefully chosen words. Even when asked something personal or vulnerable, many people respond with what they think others want to hear rather than what is true. This is not deception in the malicious sense. It is a survival strategy in an environment where first impressions carry so much weight. But when two curated personalities connect, the foundation for the relationship is already unstable. Real life connection only begins once the mask drops. And the deeper you go into a relationship, the more you realize that what was presented to you initially rarely matches the whole person. This gap between presentation and reality breeds disappointment, confusion, and unmet expectations. People conclude that dating doesn't work, but often it is not dating exactly that fails. It is the approach people bring into it, shaped by curated identities and transactional expectations. Another problematic narrative sweeping through the dating culture is the sprinkle content. If you don't know what that is, it's the content that women make encouraging each other to date rich older men and then manipulate them into giving them money and material things.
If you are really pretty, you need to go for older men who have money. If he's not 20 or 15 to 20 years older than you, he's too young. Tips for seducing older men.
Rather than measuring compatibility on important things, these young women are being encouraged to look at only one thing: what material things they stand to gain. And this is so stupid because there isn't any old man who's getting manipulated by any 20-year-old. Let's be for real. Best believe if he's spending on you, it's because he just wants to, and it's mutually beneficial. It's because he's getting something out of it. If you have this older man spending on you, it's not because Shara 7 taught you well and you are this manipulation expert. There isn't a world where a 20-year-old woman is outsmarting a 50-plus-year-old man. They are getting something in return: attention, companionship, admiration, emotional comfort, and sexual favors. Reducing this to just manipulation ignores the deeper interplay of need, desire, power, and consent. What this narrative does is to normalize transactional thinking in relationships. It encourages people to view love as leverage, connection as currency, and emotional intimacy as a game of gain rather than mutual growth. When relationships are reduced to transactions, trust erodes because people begin calculating what they give and what they receive rather than building shared meaning. Love becomes something to be worn or secured, not something to be nurtured. This kind of outrageous content is all over social media. Even men have their own versions. They have incredibly distasteful views about how to get women, how to make them obsessed with you, how to get them to beg for your attention. Evil things, Nje, on the internet. All of those contribute to another underlying reality of modern dating: the fear of being alone. For many people, the label single carries a stigma. To a lot of people, loneliness is feared. Sitting alone feels like failure, and being in a relationship becomes a validation of worth. This fear pushes people into situations that are not healthy, not aligned with their values, and not emotionally sustainable. Some people date not because they are compatible, but because they just don't want to face solitude. This desperation weakens boundaries and encourages people to tolerate behavior that they would otherwise avoid just because they don't want to be alone. Right now, you may be thinking about that one friend who you know is very much unhappy in their relationship but stays because they just don't want to be single. This contributes to relationships looking like they're bad or impossible, when the problem is just that you're staying with someone you're incompatible with just because you don't want to be alone. On the other hand, people who have strong friendships and meaningful connections outside of romantic involvement tend to approach dating more intentionally. This is not always the case, but I've personally noticed that people who have healthy friendships and relationships with their families are less likely to be with just anyone out of desperation. They are less driven by fear and more guided by clarity about what they want. Yeah. They have support systems that provide emotional safety independent of romantic partners. They do not need validation from a relationship to feel whole. This independence allows for healthier choices, deeper communication, and more resilience when challenges arrive. I think more people, especially young people, need to put more effort into cultivating friendships. Put as much effort into your friendships as you do romantic relationships, so you don't have to go around being desperate for love and belonging, so much so that you just end up with anyone. In many cultural contexts, including African culture, social networks traditionally played a significant role in supporting individuals as they navigate life and relationships. Elders, mentors, and community members acted as guides. There was a sense that relationships were embedded in a broader social ecosystem. Dating meant a possible joining of two families, which made people more intentional. Today, with increasing individualism and the prominence of digital communication, that communal support is often lacking. People navigate complex emotional terrain without guidance, leaning instead on online advice, algorithms, and trends that prioritize virality over wisdom. A lot of people go online for relationship advice, forgetting that some of these online gurus giving out advice sometimes don't even know what they're talking about. And a lot of times these advices they even give out are just for virality. Online, so many people say things they don't even believe just to trend. So of course modern dating will be in shambles when many people seek out relationship advice from strangers online. Another misinterpretation in modern dating culture involves communication, specifically the idea that a partner should just know what you want without being told. So many people believe this, and I think this is one of the most dangerous things. Yes, emotional intelligence is important. Yes, adults should be capable of empathy and understanding, but the assumption that people are mind readers is unrealistic. Healthy relationships require intentional communication, sharing needs, boundaries, and love languages. That's not burdening people with instruction, it is building bridges of understanding. Expecting people to instinctively know your internal world without dialogue sets both people for confusion and frustration. Instead of people communicating how they want to be treated, they just expect you to know, and when you don't, they ghost. Back again to the ghosting problem. Many problems could be easily fixed with an honest conversation. In truth, the dark reality of modern dating is not that people are incapable of love, connection, or commitment. It's that the environment in which they are trying to form relationships has shifted so dramatically that the tools and instincts people once used no longer apply. Instead of slowing down to understand each other, people are encouraged to swipe quickly, avoid discomfort, prioritize replaceability, and chase instant gratification. Emotional depth is sacrificed for speed. Connection is replaced by comparison. Authenticity becomes a vulnerability, and performance becomes default. But there is hope in understanding these patterns consciously. Awareness allows people to choose differently. It allows them to slow down, communicate clearly, prioritize empathy, and protect their emotional space. Love remains possible, maybe not in the curated algorithm-driven versions that dominate screens today, but in the messy, imperfect, deeply human form that has existed for centuries. Modern dating is complex, exhausting, and sometimes discouraging, but it is also a reflection of a world that has evolved rapidly, and human beings are learning, often painfully, how to adapt. The dark truth isn't that dating is challenging. It's that we are learning what it really takes to connect in a digital age where connection has become both easier and harder at the same time. And that painful awareness, uncomfortable as it is the first step towards building relationships that are real, intentional, and lasting. I'd love for you guys to share your thoughts on the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I'll see you guys on the next one.